Washington, D.C., in a charged press conference at the White House on September 25, 2025, President Donald Trump signed an executive order that, according to him, settles the long-standing dispute over TikTok's future in the United States. The move follows months of negotiations and concerns over data privacy and national security. Trump announced that the newly structured US version of the app would be controlled by highly sophisticated American investors, including Larry Ellison, founder of Oracle, technology magnate Michael Dell, and media tycoon Rupert Murdoch. The announcement, made against the backdrop of political tension in Washington and debates over technology and national security, came with Trump's characteristic mix of bluntness and pointed remarks toward both domestic and international stakeholders. Trump, standing behind a lectern flanked by US flags, signed the executive order with a flourish before holding it up for photographers. The president emphasized that the deal put American investors and American companies firmly in charge of TikTok's operations in the US. In his opening remarks, Trump said, "I had a very good talk with President Xi. A lot of respect for him. Hopefully he has a lot of respect for me too. And we talked about TikTok and other things, but we talked about TikTok and he gave us the go-ahead. You know, it's run by American investors and American companies, great ones, great investors. The biggest you don't get bigger, I don't imagine." The president underscored that the deal marked a turning point for both the app and US tech policy. Stressing the importance of security, Trump stated, "But we have American investors taking it over, running it highly sophisticated, including Larry Ellison. And Oracle, I guess, is going to be a very big role in terms of security, safety, and everything else. So we have very good controls." In a moment that reflected his enduring connection to his political base, Trump addressed a reporter's question about the potential influence of the new US management on TikTok's algorithm. Trump remarked, "I always like MAGA related. If I could, I'd make it 100% MAGA related. It's actually a good question, but I would, yeah. If I could make it 100% MAGA, I would, but it's not going to work out that way, unfortunately. No, everyone's going to be treated fairly. Every group, every philosophy, every policy will be treated very fairly." His response, delivered with a mix of humour and insistence on fairness, reflected both his trademark populist tone and a reassurance to broader audiences concerned about political bias on social media platforms. Trump highlighted the caliber of American investors stepping in to secure TikTok's operations in the country. He said, "Well, you've been reading about it. I know Michael Dell's involved and Rupert Murdoch's involved and a lot of, we have probably 4 or 5 absolutely world-class investors that love the country, and they made a lot of money with the country. And many of them are in a somewhat related business. So it works out pretty well. And they're going to be very careful about all of these questions that you've been asking." The involvement of prominent business leaders added weight to the administration's argument that the platform's new structure would ensure compliance with US laws while safeguarding user data. The press conference wasn't solely about TikTok. Trump also took the opportunity to sign an executive order reinstating capital punishment for certain crimes in Washington, D.C. Holding up the signed order, Trump said, "Okay, this is the death penalty for somebody that kills people in Washington, D.C. I think it's capital. It's a very interesting capital punishment in the capital city. It's capital, capital, capital. But this is our capital city. We can't allow that to happen." The move reignited debates over federal versus local jurisdiction in the capital and underscored the administration's law and order messaging ahead of a politically charged season. The president also used the occasion to address what he described as the influence of wealthy individuals funding radical movements. His remarks hinted at ongoing political battles over the role of money in activism. Trump stated, "Well, Soros is the name certainly that I keep hearing. I don't know, but Soros is the name that I hear. I hear a lot of different names. I hear names of some pretty rich people that are radical left people. Maybe I hear about a guy named Reid Hoffman. Somebody's a pretty rich guy, I guess. And I hear about him. I don't know, maybe it could be him, could be a lot of people. We hear the same names, but they're bad, and we're going to find out. And if they are funding these things, they're going to have some problems because they're agitators and they're anarchists. These are anarchists." The comments drew immediate reactions from political opponents who accused the president of scapegoating wealthy liberals while deflecting from deeper policy issues. The press event also turned to the looming threat of a government shutdown. When asked about the possibility, Trump did not mince words about where he placed the blame. He said, could be because the Democrats are crazed. Like, they don't know what they're doing. They want to have the border opened up so that criminals can pour in. You know, we're doing unbelievable borders closed and people are coming into our country legally. They continue to want to have men in women's sports. They continue to want to have transgender for everyone. They want to raise everybody's taxes in a number that's not sustainable. The remarks reflected the growing partisan divide in Washington over budget negotiations, immigration, and social policies. Vice President J.D. Vance, who has often been the administration's voice on tech and security issues, praised the TikTok arrangement. Vance said, "But this deal really does mean that Americans can use TikTok, but actually use it with more confidence than they had in the past, because their data is going to be secure and it's not going to be used as a propaganda weapon against our fellow citizens. We're very excited about it. We appreciate the cooperation of everybody involved, and it's a big day." His remarks highlighted the administration's efforts to frame the deal as both a victory for national security and a win for millions of American TikTok users. The battle over TikTok in the United States has been ongoing for years, driven by concerns that the Chinese-owned app could compromise the data privacy of American users and be leveraged as a propaganda tool by foreign adversaries. Under Trump's renewed leadership, the administration took a harder stance, threatening an outright ban unless the platform's US operations were brought under American ownership and oversight. This latest deal appears to mark a resolution, at least for now, of that standoff. With figures like Larry Ellison and Rupert Murdoch involved, the administration has been keen to project the agreement as a safeguard for both national security and innovation. Observers note that Trump's rhetoric during the press conference reflected the delicate balancing act the administration faces. On the one hand, it seeks to ensure robust national security and data privacy measures. On the other, it must also maintain the appearance of fairness and free expression on a platform that has become a key space for political discourse, especially among younger Americans. His quip about wanting 100% MAGA-related content underscored how social media continues to be a political battleground in the US. Yet his subsequent assurance that all viewpoints would be treated very fairly was an acknowledgement of the need to maintain broad public trust. The mention of a conversation with Chinese President Xi Jinping also points to the geopolitical dimensions of the issue. The deal's approval by Beijing signals a rare moment of cooperation amid otherwise strained US-China relations over trade, technology, and global influence. By framing the agreement as a win for American investors and asserting that it meets US security requirements, Trump sought to portray the development as both a domestic policy achievement and a diplomatic success. The executive order and the rhetoric around it set the stage for future debates on how the US will handle foreign-owned platforms operating within its borders. While the administration has claimed a victory, questions remain about how the platform will operate under its new structure and whether further regulatory hurdles could arise. For TikTok's millions of American users, the announcement brought a measure of relief after years of uncertainty about the app's fate. Still, as Trump's remarks on potential algorithmic influence and data security suggest, the platform will remain a focal point in the broader conversation about the intersection of technology, politics, and national security.